fun things.
All right, are we in here?
Not yet.
You guys scoot over here. A little closer.
I
A little
know.
closer.
Oh, my hip.
What are you doing? Oh, she's got to pop her hip.
My hip hurts. Oh, you started it already.
She's got to pop her hip.
You
What's up,
always
everybody?
Start before I'm ready.
Well, it's because I think you're
crack my
ready. You're getting
toes.
started, then I think you're ready, so I start it, and then you always do something else. That's okay. She's just showing off her legs for me.
You gotta frame the.
I'm framed. Are you
look at
framed?
You, no, I'm so not framed right now. Like,
Well, get where you're going to get, and
back
then we'll
this thing up?
just sit. Well, we got to sit where you're going to sit first.
Well, I'm trying to get the cameras together so that they will.
Yeah, I'll take care of mine. Just get comfy and settled.
I had to put on shorts because it's become a thing now that I always show
You
my
got to
legs.
show your legs now. Okay.
And his hair is freshly washed, so I'm trying to put it somewhere.
There we go.
But you're not in mine.
Well, yeah, I'll just turn it just a little bit. Just go.
The tripods are competing. You gotta get closer to me. Act like you like
I don't
me.
want to get close to you. Hey, what's up? People are popping in already.
All right, let me start ours. Start mine. Checking connection. What up, fam?
What's going on, everybody?
We are live.
Oh, my
Coffee
goodness.
chat.
That took less than 2 minutes. A minute and 30 seconds to get it all set.
What's that supposed to mean?
I don't know. I'm just saying. We didn't get that far in. It didn't take that long. What are we doing? Why are we
Got
doing
ice
this?
today.
Why are we doing this on a Sunday instead of a Saturday?
Oh, you want to go there?
Because normally we do this on a Saturday.
Because you made me get up early on a Saturday, so we.
It wasn't early. Was it early? It wasn't early.
It was.
I got up early.
It was early because we went to bed really late, so it was very early.
We did.
In that regard.
Well, yeah, what time did you end? Actually, I don't even know when you went to bed.
Same time you went to bed.
Were you awake when I came to? Oh, you were awake
Yeah.
when I came to bed. That's right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Really the angle is
So
down.
Friday night we went to bed at like 2:00.
2:30.
2:30. Yeah. Well, by the time. Yeah. Yeah. She was up.
First, let's talk about that.
Because I was up.
Why were we up so late on Friday nights?
Would you? You wouldn't have been up if.
We were each up for different reasons, but.
Yeah, but you were mostly up because I was up.
I do tend to stay up when he stays up.
Yeah.
But not.
But you were doing stuff.
Not because we were doing something together.
No. We were in different worlds. I was literally in a different world. Virtually, imaginatively. I wasn't literally.
For those who don't know, Bronson is a big tech nerd.
I'm just a nerd.
In general.
I'm just a nerd.
Tech as well.
Well, that's part of it. That's
one of
part
the things
of it.
you nerd out about.
Yeah, that's part of it. So I've been in IT for 30 years. I collect comic books. I watch movies. I play video games. And I do like fantasy role-playing games, like Dungeons and Dragons type stuff. So
he's a gamer.
last night,
Fantasy
or not
gamer.
last night, Friday night, my brother actually, this could be a long story. My brother has been playing his whole life, pretty much, fantasy games, fantasy role-playing games like Dungeons and Dragons. He created, about 15 years ago, he started creating his own version type of that style game. So he's actually done very well with it. He's got hundreds of people that play all over the world. He's got the whole thing designed, like it's really cool. But we play different campaigns and have sessions. Currently, this is like, what the heck? What the heck is he talking about? Currently, I'm playing a Lichborn necromancer, and we are running a dungeon in the most dangerous dungeon in this imaginary world. So
I fell in love with a nerd.
So we had a really long session. Usually our sessions take 4 hours-ish. This
From
one
like
was
7 to like 11,
11, sometimes
midnight.
12, maybe 5 hours. This one was 7 hours. It was 2 o'clock in the morning before we got done. And we had to cut it early. Like we were in the middle of a big fight. We were fighting a flying gargoyle thing that was dropping people into lava. We were fighting skeleton warriors and devil mages and demons and doing all this kind of stuff. And we were getting our butt kicked, so we had to run away. And then we were going to come back and fight them again, but my brother who's DMing the whole thing, which he's kind of running each session, he was like, look, it's 2:00. We'll pick it up next time. So that's that.
When he does his gaming, he'll every so often he'll be like, oh, we have a session.
Right, which we have another session this week.
Next weekend?
Next weekend, yeah.
On a Friday or a Saturday. And so I'm like, oh, that's my time to do my girly TV.
Explain what girly TV is.
I'm not going to call it girly TV. It's trashy reality TV.
Yes, trashy reality TV.
And I'll call it's girly to me because it's always love related.
She's in the whole relationship thing, and
I think it's fascinating. Here's the thing is that it's some of it can be really dramatic and trashy, and I don't like that part of it, but I love interpersonal relationships. And I love to watch that play out, and it's fascinating to me. Even the stuff that irritates me is fascinating to me about human nature. So
that's a really good word. Irritates.
Yeah, because he'll catch a glimpse of it, and he'll be like, I can't believe you're watching this.
Yeah.
So my latest was Married at First Sight. And I binged it until the very end, including the reunion and the where are they now and all of that. So typically I might do a couple of episodes and then be done when he's done. But because he was going so late and I was almost done, I just finished the whole thing. So it ended up wrapping up just before you guys wrapped up. So we were up super late Friday night. Yeah. Not our norm.
No.
Like he said, even on the nights that normally he's gaming, I'll put on a movie or I'll put on one of my shows. And it'll be maybe like midnight. Which is still late for us because weeknights we're in bed
by 10.
By or at around 10.
Yeah.
We had one.
The goal is 10.
We had one late night this week that was like 11. I can't remember which
yeah, well, I don't know what that was for, but yeah.
Yeah. So, not a lot of sleep, and then
I had to get up.
Committed us to.
Well, I got up early. I got up at 6 yesterday because I had a consultation with someone that I'm working with. So that was fun.
That was like 3 hours.
Came in, I didn't tell you, he came in a couple minutes late. And since he stood me up on the last week, I was about to be mad. I was about to be like, dude, do not make me get up two times in a row, 6:00 on a Saturday morning, and then not show up. But he ended up showing up, so that was fun.
So you came back to bed for maybe like 30 minutes, maybe not even an hour.
Yeah, not a full hour.
And then we had a CPR class in person.
Which was actually pretty fun.
It was pretty good, yeah. A lot has changed since the last time we have both done live in-person
ones.
CPR.
Yeah, I haven't done an in-person CPR class since well before COVID.
My last one was
I think the last one was when I owned my gym and I had to get myself recertified, we just held it at the gym. So we had someone come to the gym and then we had it for all our members. Like we had like a bunch of people from the gym take a class. So that would have been 2017, 2018, something like that.
And mine was like 2005 when I worked for Disney and I was a lifeguard and we had to do that as a part of our training. So almost 20 years, 19 years ago. And then I've always, for my personal training one, I did that in 2020 and that everything was online. So we've been doing them online to stay current, but he had the brilliant idea of going and doing it in person. I'm glad that we did because it's interesting. He put it up on his Instagram so you can check out the video, a quick
clip of
snippet of him doing
CPR.
the compressions.
Yeah.
And it's pretty cool how the mannequins now have signals. They have lights in there that show, are you pushing hard enough? Are you doing it on tempo? Because if not, the lights won't go all the way up to their head. So it was pretty cool.
A lot of feedback.
I know for me, it was definitely eye-opening. I had forgotten how hard you have to push on someone's chest to really get a good compression. It really feels like a workout. So it was a great thing to do in person to experience what that would be like in an actual situation.
Yeah. Thinking about what we do from a health and fitness perspective with people and realizing like if you have to do CPR on somebody and it's hard for you to get yourself up off the floor,
Oh my gosh.
It's going to be hard for you to work with somebody in that position and do compressions and be, I mean, you might be 1 or 2 cycles and then you're like, I'm gassed. I can't do this anymore.
It's true.
Right. So, you know, I said it in my post, there's a social contract aspect of going out there and learning that because, I mean, there's nothing saying you have to, but you never know when you're in a situation, particularly, and the guy, Ian, the instructor, made the comment that, you know, he's like, most of the time, if you have to do this, it's going to be with someone you know or someone in your family.
Yeah.
Right. So thinking about it from that perspective, it's not like you're just expecting some random person at the store to fall over and you need to be ready. It's more like, what happens if someone in your home has a problem and you have to respond? Right. Yep. That's really where it comes into play. So, yeah.
So I'm glad we did it.
Yeah, it was fun. And the instructor, I mean, he was lots of goofy jokes, but he made it entertaining. It was only a couple hours, like an hour, 2.5 hours. Right?
Yeah.
Not even.
Maybe 2 hours. Yeah. In and out. Not bad. So that was what we did on our Saturday morning. And then
we were lazy yesterday.
Oh my gosh.
Somebody I know wasn't lazy because she was working on something.
I got a surprise early birthday gift. He was in cahoots with my parents about it. My mother said it was fun to be in cahoots with you. And so all week he'd been dropping little hints about my birthday gift.
That she was getting a birthday gift.
But he didn't tell me what it was. He gave me no hints about what it was. But he just kept saying, oh, I think it's coming. Oh, it's going to be here. And he was like, do you want to open it right away or do you want to wait? And I was like, of course I want to open it right away. And then I said, wait, is it something I'm going to want before my birthday? And he was like,
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he was right, 100% right.
100%.
So
yep.
He bought me a new MacBook Pro. Because
in case you didn't know, the thing that she's been using up until now was an Air, right?
A MacBook Air. It's teeny tiny.
Which basically that's all it is.
It's Air.
It's Air. She's been having problems with it for the past several. We'll just say a while.
It's running really slow.
It's run slow. It's an old freaking piece of crap.
And I'm always like, oh, do I need to do another update? Oh, now the camera's not working for YouTube. It's just always been something.
Always been something. And so I asked her the other day, I was like, hey, could you send me information about the model that you have? And she took a screenshot of the screen and sent it to me, and it said, MacBook Air, blah, 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 whatever, 2015. So that thing is, what, 8 years old?
Almost 10 years old.
Almost 10 years old.
That's crazy. But not
9
mine.
Years old.
But the model, the software, not the software.
No, that model. So that means that model would have come out in 2015.
Right.
So
that's not when I got it, but that's
how
the
old
model
it is.
that it is. And we know what happens with technology, right?
Right. So 10 years is a long time to go without updating your technology. Not to mention, it's about the size of a phone as far as the screen goes, and I don't know how she does anything on it.
It is little though.
The bigger the screen and the more screens I have, the better I function.
And this is the IT guy. He's got he would love to have like 5
I don't even
screens.
know how to explain how my brain, maybe it's the neurodivergence, how my brain doesn't work as well when I have a smaller screen to look at. Like when I can take the four windows and apps that I have and put them on screens and spread them out and look at things while I'm doing whatever, things go so much better.
I can see what you mean.
When I'm having to click between, this and then click to the other one, look back and then click back to the other one. Like,
it's funny because as soon as I set it up yesterday, and it took a while to troubleshoot because of my old one having problems with iCloud and my Apple ID and all kinds of things. So anyway, once I got it all up and running, the first thought was, oh my gosh, this is crystal clear. It's so bright. It's so easy to read. It is larger, and so it's easier to read that way. And one of my first thoughts was, because I'm always going back and forth between windows for client stuff, and I was like, oh, I see what he means about if this was on another screen, it would be cool. Because then even if you separate the windows on one screen, it's still, now each window is smaller, you only have so much space. So the next thing might be getting a
I'll
monitor.
get you a monitor to put up here. Yes, I'm down for that.
Look what he's doing
If we'd have kept the monitor from that we gave to the movers, then you could have had that monitor. But you didn't want it. I'm fine with my little 13 inches.
It was. I think it's like 11 or 13.
It's a 13 inch.
The little one?
Yeah. And this one I got was a 14 something.
He said he was going to step me up.
I'm going to step her up
slowly.
to bigger. And yeah, we don't want to jump right into the massive stuff.
I am wondering how it's going to feel traveling with this because it is a little heavier.
You won't notice difference.
I loved how easily I could just toss the other.
She's acting like this laptop weighs 50 pounds.
Like a teeny little bit bigger.
She picked it up the other day. She's like, oh my God, it's so heavy. I don't know what I can do.
It was heavy, so I knew it was valuable. When I lifted the box, the whole box, I was like, oh, what did you get me? This is heavy. So it was a really special, wonderful surprise, and I can't wait to chat with my mom later today because he took a video of me opening it so he could send it to my parents, and she was crying.
Yep.
So it's going to be amazing, and I've been dragging my feet. My dad sent me money to get a new iPhone for Christmas because my iPhone also needs to be updated. And I just haven't had a chance. It's just been bonkers around here.
It's been great. It's been so
I want to
great.
actually walk down to the Apple store we have in walking distance and do the whole setup and all that. Plus,
Have you set up an appointment yet?
No.
Oh, just set an appointment.
You don't need an appointment.
I thought you needed an appointment for that. Okay.
But that's a little trickier because being without your phone for a period of time to have it set up, I'm constantly using it. So I just have to look at my calendar and go on a day when I don't have a lot going on. So, now that
you should bring your tablet down there too and make sure that's ready to go.
Oh, my tablet, yeah. Well, I was
Both at
thinking
the
about
same time.
trading it in, getting a new model of that too.
You can do that
super
because that's
old.
probably old too. Yeah, you could do that.
Yeah. So it'll just be all new iPhone stuff.
Yes.
My Apple Watch is newer.
Unfortunately, I am dating an Apple person.
We are on different sides there.
One of the few things that we don't see eye to eye on.
Which is unfortunate for me because he can't help me when I have Apple problems. Because he doesn't know it like he knows Google.
Right. There's basic technology stuff that I can help you with, but if it's something Apple specific.
There's a lot of Apple specific.
Yeah.
And then I get frustrated and I have to go down my own rabbit holes or take it over to the Geek Squad.
Right. So do you guys want us to just keep talking about ourselves?
We're just doing banter right now, but
we're 20 minutes in and we haven't even.
You had a question over there.
I had
a comment that we're still waiting for Bronson's collab with Five Guys and Lululemon.
Oh, who said that?
Do you remember?
Oh, geez. So I tried with Five Guys, and the local Five Guys here, the general manager. Let's just say the entire staff and management has been
They're familiar with you now.
unimpressive
Oh, because you reached out to them.
in their communication and comprehension or even desire to engage. So I don't think the Five Guys thing is going to happen.
Well,
Unless I find another Five Guys, but the next other five, that's going to be outside of a distance that makes sense for me to do.
You know what you should do? You should do a video about it and ask everybody to tag Five Guys in your video to get them to do a collab with you.
Potentially. I don't know if I have enough followers to engage to make Five Guys take a notice.
You just hit a new milestone.
I did.
You just hit 10K on Instagram.
Woohoo! Doesn't mean nearly what it used to be,
No,
right?
but it's still a milestone.
I don't see any questions. I see comments.
You had a question about training
Okay,
somewhere
let's
in
see.
here.
Good morning. What's up, Juliana? Bubbles was on. Trash TV, I get it, Juliana says. Gotta go. Do you advice on how to fix muscle imbalance after one leg atrophy due to injury? One leg is smaller than the other now. The only way, the issue isn't how to fix the imbalance. The issue is this, if this makes sense. The issue is because fixing the imbalance is make the other leg stronger. That's all it is. The issue is dealing with the mental aspect of being patient while the other leg is getting stronger, and knowing that the other leg that is strong isn't going to get stronger until the other leg gets stronger. How many times can I say stronger, in one thing? So it's not really, you just make the other leg stronger, work it. My recommendation would be work both legs together as much as possible based off of the weight of the weakest leg. But, and this may sound weird, some amount of time should be spent on at least maintaining the strength in the strong leg. So the focus is on building the one leg that's atrophied up to the length of the strong leg and maintaining the strength in the strong leg. So that way you're not worried about, well, while I'm waiting on this leg to get stronger, this leg is getting weaker, right? So, because let's just say if this leg can push 100 pounds and this leg can only push 50, if I'm only ever working at 50, then this leg's going to drop to 90, then 80, then 70, right? So most of my work should be at 50 because of this leg, but I'm working both legs together. So I'm still getting volume in this leg, in the strong leg. And then maybe have one exercise a week or something where you're doing something just for this leg, just to maintain right where you're at. And that's probably not the only way to do it, right?
I'll give you my favorite way to, even if it's not an injury, and I do this a lot with my training, because in bodybuilding, symmetry is very important. You don't want to have one fantastic looking side and the other side, and I created some imbalances from posing too much on one side and not on the other. So I'm still working on bringing one glute to do the same thing the other glute does and all that kind of thing. So, and I recently noticed a major difference in my biceps. So
I have that too.
I like to do unilateral exercises. So exercises where you're doing one side and then the other side, and start with the weaker side first, because we tend to default to doing the stronger side first. And when you do 12 reps for a set for the stronger side, and then you go to the weaker side, your total body is already a little bit pre-exhausted before you start the second side. So if you start with the weaker side, you'll get your best lift on that side with all your energy right after a rest period. Then you do the strong side second. So that's kind of one of my favorite ways to do it.
Yeah.
For instance, like with my glute hamstring, trying to bring the right side up to the left. So I start when I'm doing my, what am I doing right now? The staggered stance RDLs. So that's going to hit glute ham. I start with my right side because this side is weaker, and then I go to the other side. So my goal is still to be able to lift the same on both sides, but I'm giving more of that fresh energy to the weaker side first.
So hope that answers your question. Just be patient. That's really the biggest piece.
Yeah, it's going to take time.
Rhonda says I have to have multiple screens.
No.
Don't know how we functioned before. Oh, we actually use paper and pencils and typewriters. Oh my God, remember carbon paper and correction tape?
Oh my gosh.
Back in the day.
It's almost
whiteout,
before my time.
Whiteout all day.
I do remember a short period of time learning that.
So what's the topic that we want to talk about today?
Well, we had a few.
How did we even start talking about the kryptonite?
Because you were talking about why we can't have keto bricks.
Keto bricks, oh my God, yes. So I got
question for y'all. Who has had keto bricks before? Do you eat keto bricks? Do you still have keto bricks? Do you have any in your house now? Are you a fan of it? Do you know what it is? Let us know in the comments if you are keto brick people.
Yes, I am, but I can't be.
So first, let's tell them what keto bricks are if they don't know.
Okay, go for it.
If you're familiar with Keto Savage, Robert Sykes, he is another keto bodybuilder. And this was something that he used because he uses typically a high fat approach. And he keeps his fat pretty high until the very end of a prep. And then I think even then he brings it back up at the end. He has a whole process. He has a book too, if you're interested in learning more about the way he does it. So this keto brick was something he created at home that was a high fat, protein, has protein powder, MCT oil, maybe a few other ingredients. Some of them have macadamia nut butter in it, stuff like that. So they have all different flavors, and they're sweet, and they're high calorie, high fat, like 90% fat or something. And he'll eat like a whole brick. And then have like one meal.
1,000 calories.
Yeah.
Per,
so it was part of his process for how he did his preps, and then started sharing it with others. And now they have this really incredible company doing very well, have a lot of fans out there, loving them some keto bricks. So we call it kryptonite. His keto kryptonite, where it is a keto product. But it's not something we do often.
What we mean by kryptonite is, what is that one thing that you
cannot
moderate? So, I love Ben & Jerry's. I love French fries. But I can go get Ben & Jerry's, eat it, and be gone. And even if it's in the house, if we got ice cream, if we had Ben & Jerry's, and there's no way I would eat every day. Because there's a line, and this is how this works. There's a line where I know if I'm making a choice that isn't a net positive in my life, and I will make that choice, but I can't justify making that choice over and over and over and over again. And that's like, I wouldn't go out and get French fries every day. That's what I used to do. That's why I was messed up before, because I used to do that. So there's certain things that are just, the line is very clear and obvious, and like, I'm not going over on that side. Keto bricks they straddle the line, they fuzz the line. They're like, something about the idea behind them screws with my brain.
It's like a justifiable.
It's like, okay, well, it's just fat and protein, and it's keto. There's nothing bad in it.
So your brain justifies it.
So it's like, yeah, well, it's healthy. So what's the problem? The problem is, it's not necessarily unhealthy, but if I have, because we've done this, right? We've worked with them. They've sent us cases. We've tried new product. I mean, I've ordered a dozen at a time in the past, right? So we'll have a cupboard full of keto brick, and I will literally eat one a day, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, okay? Except when you eat one a day, that's technically enough macros in fat, particularly, for the whole day of fat. I shouldn't eat, and everything I should eat from there should be lean protein with no fat. But I would eat a whole keto brick and then still eat all of my regular food for the day as well.
Yep.
Right? And then it's like, okay, well, that's kind of not helpful.
Yeah, because here's the thing. It's a highly calorically dense, high fat treat.
And that's the thing. That's how you know. And
it's not large. I mean, it's like this size.
Yeah.
So you could easily eat
an entire brick.
It's 1,000 calories.
Yeah.
For someone like me, that would be like,
that's more than half.
On my off season, that's half my calories for the day.
Yeah.
But when I'm prepping, it could be all or close to all of my calories for the day. Now I'm replacing real food with a treat.
Yep.
And that's for him. He doesn't replace the real food. He's still eating the real food, and now adding 1,000 calories of fat, basically, on top of that, because it's
so yummy,
so easy to eat.
Yeah.
And for me, it's not quite to that level. Like, I would never eat a whole brick. I've never eaten a whole brick in a day. Maybe half.
Yeah.
Maybe I could get to half. But what I would do is I'll cut a little piece, 10 grams, right? Maybe I'll have that with my coffee. And then it would be like, oh, maybe I'll shave off a little bit more. And next thing you know, maybe I've eaten half a brick in a day.
Yeah.
So we got on the topic of, this concept of what can you not moderate. And a lot of people have gone keto or carnivore for no other reason than when they are eating carbs, they cannot moderate.
Right. And then they run into the idea of they're stalled, and they're not connecting that they're not eating carbs. Now they're eating everything that has keto on the label, and they're not moderating.
Yes.
And
Yes.
all they've done is they've moved their problem from one product to another.
Yep.
And being willing to say, hey, you know what? This is something I can't moderate. So we haven't gotten keto bricks since Antithetic.
Yeah.
I haven't ordered any. After that, it was like, I can't do this.
I was tempted because they just dropped the mint chocolate.
They did.
And it's a plant-based, so I don't do keto bricks also usually because a lot of the flavors are whey-based.
Yeah.
And I can't do the dairy. And I don't like to go with plant protein. Now, maybe if they made it with beef isolate, it would be really difficult to say no to. But you probably can't make a product like that with beef isolate because if y'all don't know, beef isolate is very like gummy. It's like a collagen. So you would have to add some kind of stabilizing gums or something to it. And that's one of the good things about Keto Brick is that they're not adding those gums and stuff. But it's still not something that we need to be consuming for us on a regular basis. It doesn't fit with our goals and our day-to-day life even for maintenance. You know, when we say goals, and maybe that even should be a topic. Like when we say goals, we're not talking about losing fat. You know, sometimes we might go on a cut and we're focused on losing fat. But for us, our goals are not losing fat.
No.
It's lifestyle optimization, it's wellness, it's fitness for life. You know, it's feeling our best. And that does not include eating
anything
in excess.
Well, so there's another aspect too, right? And that is taking control of your environment, taking control of your journey. So if you're stalled and it's because you're not moderating or abstaining from, then that's something you have to look at. You have to make the decision on if you want to get where you want to go, this either needs to become moderated or this needs to be removed completely.
Yes.
One or the other. If you can't moderate, then removal is the only other option if you want to make a change. So being willing to say, Keto Brick isn't helping me maintain and get where I want to be, so I'm just not going to order it anymore. Nothing wrong with Keto Brick. I love Keto Brick. That's the problem.
That's what I think Rhonda commented. It tastes too good to her.
Yeah, that's the problem.
The thing is, anytime it's something super sweet, something tasty, and it's not helping you achieve what you're trying to achieve.
Right. And as you guys know that I don't use calories in a lot of in pretty much anything that I do, but the idea of caloric density in a ratio to nutrient density is something that I think is a good conversation to have. And for the most part, I can't think of really any foods or food product that goes against this rule. The more nutrient dense the food is going to be, the less calorically dense it's going to be. And the more calorically dense it is, the less nutrient dense it is. So if you're getting something specifically for the calories or this is high in fat or whatever else, remember, fat by itself
does not have
nutrients. It's not nutrition. Fat is a nutrient by itself, but that it does certain things. And if you want to get the most nutrient dense options possible, fat and protein from whole food sources is what you're looking for because they work together to allow the nutrients to be used by your body.
Micronutrition, but fat by itself does not have micronutrition.
Particularly processed foods fat, right? So if we're talking about butter or we're talking about the fat cap that's on your meat, that's a different kind of fat than MCT oil that's been added to your coffee. That's not doing anything for you. That is a waste of your money and a waste of your time.
I put it in my coffee though.
There's other reasons you do that too.
But also, I should point this out, and we could go down this track as well, because I just shared that pork rind cereal recipe, and I want this goes along the same lines. We talked about this the other day. I put MCT in my coffee. I don't put a tablespoon. I don't put 2 tablespoons. I put 3 or 4 grams.
Right.
That's like a teaspoon or less. And it's So when we're talking about that, it's not 200 calories of fat. It's not 20 grams of fat.
Right.
It's not all this excess fat that is not doing anything for you.
And
I do believe that something like MCT oil, butter, things of that nature can be great for energy, can be great for brain health. MCT in particular, because it passes the blood-brain barrier. So it can be great for people who have any kind of cognitive issues. But do we need to be putting tablespoons of it, and to like the extent of how much fat is in something like a keto brick and a lot of these keto products, where they're just putting excess fat and they're calling it keto and it's gimmicky?
Right, because the goal there, and this is where the distinction is, the goal should be, what is this, let's say MCT, what is this going to do for me and why am I taking it? Am I taking it because I know it's going to help with my digestion? It's going to help me do whatever I need to do in the morning because I know, there's some additional benefit and it's going to give me energy throughout the day. It's something I start the day with. Or am I doing it because of some picture I have in my mind that if I'm keto, I have to put a bunch of fat on everything?
Right. That part.
What's the goal?
Yes.
What's the minimum effective dose? I'm high-fat carnivore or I'm high-fat keto. Okay, that's great. What is the minimum effective dose for the goal that you're trying to achieve doing that?
I love that question for everything.
Right?
Minimum effective
If you don't know
dose.
why you're doing it and how what you're doing is going to get you where you want to go, then why are you doing it?
And let's be real. If you came to keto carnivore because you were overweight, you already had an excess problem. You had a problem with eating in excess of something. So when you just translate it, like he was saying, from excess carbs to now excess fat, excess, you were doing chips and queso before, or you were doing cookies and all this other, and now you're doing keto cookies, and now you're doing keto chips.
And pork rinds.
Right.
Yeah.
It's still the same habit pattern. So if that follows you over and you continue the habits that got you where you didn't want to be,
Right.
even though it's keto, it's not going to do anything for if your goal is fat loss.
And this discussion right here is the number one or two reasons, and I'll explain why I say one or two. One or two reasons, the absolute at the top of the list, one or two reasons why people get started with keto. They see progress for 6 months, 8 months, a year, and then all of a sudden everything stops and they don't know what's going on. And they can't figure out why they're not seeing the progress that they saw initially. Nothing's changing, right? And it's because you have made a change to better options of things that are supporting bad habits.
Ooh, yep.
Okay,
Yeah,
so you still have the habits and you're getting better options, so your body physically is doing better and it's going to see a change, but you just replaced things that are harming you to things that aren't necessarily hurting you as bad.
Yeah, which I think can be a very powerful first
Which is very
step.
powerful. Yes, 100%.
Right? You make healthy swaps, right? But eventually, if you don't address the real issue, which was the habits, you're gonna plateau. You're gonna stop making progress. Well, the other thing that stops them from making progress is they weren't eating enough protein and they were eating too much fat, because they were told that's what they needed to do when they go keto.
And that's part of the habits. That's part of the change, mindset change. Yeah.
So I want to talk about the pork rinds thing because.
Yeah, finish up.
All right, so I shared what it's now becoming kind of a trending thing in the carnivore space. This pork rind cereal, replacing your cereal with pork rinds and some sort of milk.
Which is hilarious because it's been around forever. I mean, 5 years ago, people were doing pork rind cereal. It's funny how things come up and down.
So I posted my recipe for it, which I didn't post a recipe. I rarely post recipes because I don't measure things.
She's the emerald of the keto space.
But actually, it's not that I don't measure. I'm weighing everything because I track my food. So I guess I could create a recipe, but a lot of the time the reason I don't is because I always make things to meet my macros. So my recipe can change day to day based on how much of my macros I have to play with for a thing that I'm creating. So it might be that I use 1 ounce of pork rinds one day, and I might use half an ounce, or I might use 2 ounces the next day, depending on how many macros I have. But I wanted to make some things clear, because the way that when I shared it, I just put pork rinds in a bowl, your choice of milk, and dust it with protein powder. That's how I make it taste like cereal and not like pork rinds and milk, which I don't think I would really enjoy it without the protein powder.
Well, it depends if we got Porking Good pork rinds and we got some of their flavors.
Oh, the new sweet flavors, because they have sweet flavors now.
You
So,
gotta try that.
but
Porking Good, go get some.
I know I haven't tried those yet. Do you still have a code in your link tree? Yeah, so check out his link tree. He has a code there.
Best pork.
But I made them my way, and the reason I wanted to share mine is because I hadn't seen anybody doing that. So I dust it with like a vanilla or our salted caramel equip, just like a little dusting of protein powder. It gives it that flavor, cinnamon, and then for me it tastes like cinnamon toast crunch. And then the way that I do it, I just drizzle a little bit of, for me, a non-dairy milk product. So like a Nut Pods creamer or coconut milk. And it's just like a drizzle, just enough to like get them to start crackling, but I'm not drowning them in it, which I'm seeing people drown them in it, and then people are like, ew, that it's gonna get all soggy. I'm like, yeah, I don't do it like that. So it's not really like the way that you would do cereal. It's just a little bit so that it helps the protein powder stay on there, and it kind of like crackles a little bit, and then I eat it, but it doesn't take me long to eat it either, because it's literally 1 ounce, which is like 2 servings. Like a protein. This is one thing about pork rinds that's kind of annoying. You know, they put on their package 14 grams is a serving size, which is nothing. It's such a small serving. But why do they do that? Because pork rinds are a highly caloric, low nutrient density food. It is a snack food, and it is pretty much all fat, because the protein that you're seeing listed is not a complete protein. It is not the kind of protein that is going to help you build muscle. It is not protein for muscle protein synthesis.
Whenever I eat pork rinds, I don't even like
Count
I track it in my chronometer, but I just kind of in my head I'm like, okay, that says however much protein, but I actually
need to eat more real food protein today. So this was another thing. I saw people posting that I made that for breakfast. I made that for dinner. It should not be a meal replacement.
Yeah.
Pork rinds in general should not be a meal replacement, because they do not contain nutrition. You're not getting nutrition from them. It is purely for the enjoyment of it.
Right.
Just like you would have done with tortilla chips or whatever in the past. It shouldn't replace real food. So, and honestly, I don't remember the last time in my life I ever ate cereal for breakfast. Probably college.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe that long ago. Definitely before I started my health journey.
That's a good one. When was the last time you even bought cereal?
Right. I'll tell y'all what I used to do in college. I used to replace my desserts with cereal, thinking it was a healthier option.
Right.
But at least it was a replacement for dessert, which is basically just the same thing as dessert, because traditional cereal is just dessert for breakfast. So it's a terrible thing to have for breakfast.
What food isn't dessert, essentially, these days?
So
go to Starbucks and get a coffee dessert.
I was saying to Bronson the other day, I was like, I need to tell people, I do need to be giving them my numbers that I use for things, because they don't know that this is how I'm doing it. I'm not putting a cup of heavy cream on top of an entire bag of pork rinds and making that a meal.
Right.
That would be like eating keto brick for a meal.
That would be the same thing.
It would be a ton of fat, very low nutrition, if any at all, maybe some from the heavy cream, but very low nutrition in terms of micronutrition.
No micronutrients, yeah.
You're not getting quality protein. And now you've replaced a meal with something this is why they call it empty calories.
Right.
Because they're saying you're getting calories without any nutrition. You're getting fuel, energy, that will now be stored as fat on your body because it's not coming along with anything beneficial for you.
Yeah.
So that is not a good idea to be taking any of these keto foods, and pork rinds are in that category. Heavy cream is in that category. I'll tell you where most carnivores go wrong. They are making carnivore cheesecake carnivore egg pudding, carnivore things that have butter bites. It's just butter.
Brown
it's
butter
just
bites,
heavy,
brown butter
heavy
bites.
cream and eggs, and then okay, you're getting some nutrition from the eggs.
Yeah.
But otherwise, you're replacing these treat foods
Yes.
with something that is carnivore. So it makes your brain. It is
Yep.
the carnivore kryptonite.
Yep.
And this is why we call it keto or carnivore kryptonite, because it may fit the title of the diet. And this is going into
And
the
this is
other
where
topic.
this is going to this topic.
It may fit the title of the diet.
How it all just goes.
So your brain is justifying it by saying it's carnivore, it's keto, so it's okay. But is it actually helping you reach your goals?
Yeah. And that goes into other stuff you guys hear us talk, and I know you guys hear me talk about all the time, but we talk about is the diet that you're in and how you name it or describe it or whatever box you want to put it in shouldn't determine your journey, right? Is this helping me get where I want to go?
Whether or not it's keto or carnivore should not be how you're answering whether or not you should eat it.
Right, because that isn't what you're trying to do. You're not trying to be a carnivore. You're not trying to be keto. You're trying to live a better life. And the food that you eat should answer the question, is this going to help me live a better life or not? That is what we're trying to do. So if you're basing your food choices on if it's keto, that's your problem.
Go back to, wait a minute, but why did I decide to go keto?
Yes.
That's how you answer your food choices. Why did I decide to go carnivore? Oh, if it was for gut health, if it was for problems with
weight
allergies
loss,
or whatever, right? Like if you have issues with autoimmune and you went carnivore for that reason, maybe all the dairy is not benefiting you.
Yeah.
Maybe doing carnivore a certain way, because you see other people doing it that way, may not be the way to do it for you, for your goals. So there's nothing wrong with choosing to be keto or carnivore. But just being keto or carnivore is not the goal.
Yeah. Let me ask you guys a question. Many of us and many of you listening have started this journey because you wanted to lose weight. Okay? If weight loss was really the goal that you were trying to reach, if that is the only thing you're worried about, why haven't you just stopped eating?
Some of them have. Fasting is the answer.
I'm not talking about fat. Just stop eating. You can lose weight. That's the best, easiest, most proven way to lose weight. Just stop eating. If eating and the amount that you eat is all that matters, then just stop eating. But that's not the answer, right? Because there's other things that go to it. You need function. We go back to function. It's about how well do you function. So if the choices that you're making when you do eat aren't improving the function of your body, then that's the sticking point. That's the issue.
And going back to what we were saying about so many people do keto or carnivore because they can't moderate carbs. So that's why they chose this as their weight loss diet. Right? Then when you're consuming things that are keto or carnivore that you can't stop eating, you're doing the same thing that you were doing when you were eating the carbs and couldn't moderate.
Right.
So if there are things in keto and carnivore land that you cannot moderate, it's the same problem that you're perpetuating.
Right, and that brings us back to the beginning, right? It's the mindset about what you're doing, why you're doing it. And you have to make a change at some point and say, look, this isn't worth it for me anymore. I need to stop. Okay, let's see. Juliana says that pork and good has sugar in there.
I think that
and the new ones?
I think the sweet ones do. I think they use, I don't remember what they use, but I remember reading it. Yeah, that's why we haven't bought it.
That sucks.
That's why I haven't bought them for us.
Okay. Well, bummer. Yeah. Let's see. Blaze says, I don't like cereal, but my sister eats it as a snack. Look, I used to love cereal. Look, okay. I'm the guy in high school, even as an adult, when I was out of high school, when I was in the Army, I would go to the grocery store, get a box of cereal on like a Saturday morning.
I just tried to take a sip out of that.
On like a Saturday morning, and that box of cereal would be my meal for Saturday.
Wow.
I would eat an entire box of cereal for the day.
Yo, this is the guy who used to eat sugar.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Drink sugar water.
Yeah. Okay. Y'all don't know
You really have no idea where these come from.
Yeah. Okay.
If y'all think this is easy for this man, like, y'all need to know some of the nitty gritty of
And even now, there are
what he
times
used
where
to
it's like,
do.
ooh boy. I see stuff. I saw something the other day that I was like, oh my
The
god.
flyer,
Oh, we got a flyer
a Wegmans flyer,
that had
home fried
a
potatoes,
picture of food on the cover and the freaking
roasted potatoes.
roasted mini potatoes. Oh, they look so good.
He was like, now I want potatoes.
Okay.
Y'all have no, he was the biggest fat kid inside.
Oh my god.
And
this thing, and this is the challenge, because I was never, as a kid, I was never actually fat. It wasn't until my mid-30s that I actually got fat.
Yeah.
Right? So as a kid, I could do all of this stuff, and it never was apparent.
You were one of those people who could outrun a bad diet for a while.
A long time. And then all of a sudden, it was like, pow, 250 pounds, woohoo. Yeah. Man boobs, woohoo. It caught up to me. So, okay, things that I have done in my life, if I can remember all of them. We've talked about most of these, I think.
This is the kryptonite topic, man. Let's talk about what.
At one point in high school,
prior kryptonite was.
I realized that Kool-Aid was just sugar water with color. So I said, well, why do we need to buy the color? I'll just put sugar in water. And that would be what I drank every day. I would just get a glass of water, take a couple spoons of sugar, mix it up till it all dissolves, and then just drink sugar water. I literally would drink sugar water every day.
Wow.
In high school. I love peanut butter. I realized at one point in time that, not just peanut butter, but I loved Reese's peanut butter cups.
Oh, Reese's.
And I realized at one point that the thing I loved about Reese's peanut butter cups was that they were higher in sugar than regular peanut butter. So I would get Jif or Jiffy or Skippy, whatever my mom would get. I'd get a bowl, spoon out a bunch of peanut butter into a bowl, pour sugar into it, then mix it all up.
To make his own Reese's.
And then I would go downstairs and play computer games and
just eat a bowl of sugar peanut butter.
That was one of my favorite snacks.
Oh my God.
That was one of my favorite snacks. Yep.
Wow.
There was a 7-Eleven down the street from where we lived. I used to ride my bike down there, and I would go there, and I worked. I was in high school. I worked at a restaurant. I worked at Bennigan's in high school. Right? Remember Bennigan's?
Oh, we had
all the flair. And I would take my bike. I'd go to 7-Eleven, and I would buy the mini powdered donuts, the box of Edmund's mini powdered donuts.
Oh my gosh.
I would get 4 or 5 apple pies and lemon meringue pies. The nasty yellow, gooey filled lemon meringue pies. And then
some of the stuff he tells me that he loved, I'm like, ew.
Oh my God, so bad.
That was the worst thing.
And then I'd come home, and that would be like my weekend. On the weekends, that would be what I pretty much ate on the weekends. As I got older, I would eat. I used to go to McDonald's all the time when I was in the Army, and as I got older, get a Big Mac, fries, a couple apple pies.
Oh my God.
That would be a large Coke. That would be my normal go-to. Then as an adult, when I got out of the Army, all of that's continued, obviously, right? Then it was my snacks as a, in my late 20s, early 30s, my snacks were an entire package of double stuffed Oreos. I would sit down and watch TV and eat a whole container of double stuffed Oreos with milk, and I would dip it in low-fat milk, because low-fat milk was healthier. Right?
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
Pecan Sandies, same thing. I'd get a whole box of that and eat those as well. Nutter Butters. There were times where I would get a whole thing of Nutter Butters and a whole thing of Oreos and eat half and half.
Wow.
Nutter Butter's the bomb. Anything peanut butter.
I did
anything
love
peanut butter
Nutter
for
Butters,
me.
yes.
Pecan Sandies, Lorna Doones. Love Lorna Doones.
Shortbread cookies. Like,
yeah, shortbread cookies, the bomb. I
super
love them.
random.
Love them. They soak up the milk so good. And then we got into the whole ice cream thing. And then you guys have heard my story about French fries and anything potato oriented.
Yeah.
French fries, tater tots, hash browns.
You would get like double.
Well, so at
fries.
Red Robin, it's unlimited baskets of French fries, and I couldn't leave Red Robin if I didn't have at least 2 baskets, because I'm paying for unlimited baskets. I couldn't justify not getting a second basket. Like I'm paying for this. I'm gonna get my second dang basket. So I would eat 2 baskets of French fries. In that same time period, this is now mid-30s, where I really started falling off the cliff. That was lunch many days of the week. Dinner many days of the week, we talked about this last night, was pad thai.
Oh, yeah.
With a double order of chicken, so double chicken in my pad thai, because I need the protein. Right?
At least you knew that much.
2 orders on the side of spring rolls.
Wow.
So there were four spring rolls per order, so 8 spring rolls with a double order of pad thai and chicken.
Oh,
that was a meal,
gosh.
and I would eat the whole thing in one sitting.
Jeez,
right?
You make me look like
If I wasn't doing that for dinner, I was ordering a large meat lovers pizza from Domino's and eating the entire thing.
At least you had meats.
Right? But it would be an entire
It's
pizza.
like pepperoni and sausage.
Pepperoni, sausage, and hamburger.
Yeah.
And bacon. Right? And
yeah,
cheese and all of the crust.
And, yeah.
All of the crust.
Wow.
And then that would also usually come with like one of those, they got the brownie, molten brownie lava thingies that they do for the dessert.
Oh my God, I never even knew what they did for dessert.
Yeah, they had it's almost like a molten chocolate cake with the hot fudge melted on top with a little chocolate brownie. Yeah, so that was that. What else did I do at that time? We got the pizza, we got the pad thai. Those are the 2 biggest, and the
You're
French fries.
making
Those
me
are 2 biggest
realize
things.
how long, even before I started my paleo, my clean eating journey that just ended up leading me into keto carnivore. That was like a good 12-year journey. But even before that, ever since I was a preteen, I got on a health kick.
Yeah.
Granted, I just didn't know, right? For me, I always thought I was making healthy choices. So I was eating the healthy things that were not actually healthy, right? That seemed or appeared healthy. Mm-hmm. And so for me, it was like, I remember getting a whole bag of the Trader Joe's chocolate-covered pomegranates or chocolate-covered blueberries and eating the whole bag while I was watching a movie at night. Right? But that was healthy because it was chocolate-covered fruit.
Right, it's chocolate-covered fruit. It's sugar-covered sugar.
Let's see, what else? For me, it was the Sour Patch Kids.
Oh, we don't even talk about candy.
Sour Patch Kids and gummy bears. I used to put the gummy bears in the freezer. This was in my 20s. Even though I was health conscious, like gummy bears in the freezer, and it would just be like a nighttime TV snack on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Most of my main meals were pretty healthy because my mom always cooked growing up. And so we always had like a protein, a starch, a vegetable. It was like what you were taught, right? But it was pretty balanced. It was real food. It was whole food. So it wasn't a lot of junk. But we were that era, right? The 80s babies of Oreos and we did TV dinners for a long time.
I totally forgot. You said something that just triggered.
What?
The one thing that surpasses all of these. Pop-Tarts.
Oh my gosh, I did love Pop-Tarts.
I could not live as a kid if I did not have Pop-Tarts on a regular basis.
Wow.
When I went to visit my grandparents, my grandmother, God, I love her. I would go to my grandparents for holidays. We'd go visit, whatever else. She always had a box of Pop-Tarts for me. She would always buy Pop-Tarts, and everyone could have Pop-Tarts, right? But there was always an entire box that was set aside just for me.
Wow.
Blueberry, strawberry, or cinnamon. Those were the 3.
And now his mom saves the deviled eggs for him.
Now she saves the deviled eggs.
Now you get a whole plate for yourself.
An element.
Well, yeah, the Pop-Tarts, I did have a phase where I was into Pop-Tarts. But I feel like that was probably like high school. I don't think I really did that afterwards. You know what I used to think was so healthy? And I ate these religiously when I was working in my 20s, long hours. Marie Callender's pot pies. In the frozen section, you could get like a package and it would be like 3 or 4 of them. And they were like these little mini pot pies and I would just eat the whole pot pie. That was my dinner. And I remember at that time going to the eye doctor because I still wore glasses back then. And they noticed something in my eye that somehow told them that like my sodium was like off the charts. And it was because I was eating these frozen lean cuisines and Marie Callender's pot pies like regularly. They were my work meals. And you know, lean cuisine's so healthy, right? That was all the stuff I thought was so healthy. And like the cereals I thought were so healthy. The frosted mini wheats I thought was so healthy.
I used to tear up some frosted mini wheats.
I love me some frosted mini wheats.
Oh my God, yeah. Frosted mini wheats, heck yeah.
Oh, that was a healthy choice because it's mini wheats, right? Gosh, I don't remember all the cereals that I switched to thinking they were healthy. Special K and all
Raisin
of that.
Bran, I used to tear up some raisin. But here's the thing, even with Raisin Bran, I would put sugar on top of it.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
I would do
like the strawberry Special K because I thought that was healthy because it's dried strawberries.
No. Frosted Flakes, Life cereal, used to tear up some Life cereal.
Oh, here's a good example with the Pop-Tarts, right? This is where like there's a company called Legendary Foods and they make protein Pop-Tarts. Yep. Oh, so now you can just switch. Because
it has protein in it.
And now it's healthy. It's not still super high in sugar, super high in calories.
No nutrition.
And a bunch of crap ingredients.
Yeah.
But they put protein. And that was another thing. One of my kryptonites, which it is a line for me that I can't buy these, is protein bars. It's a kryptonite for me. It's one of those things where my mind goes, oh, it's a protein bar, it's healthy, or looking for keto protein bars and you know the ones that have healthier ingredients. But it's not real food. It's highly palatable, and this is one of the problems with things like that. We didn't. Well,
that's a whole nother.
But that's the thing with the keto brick and other stuff like that. It's so highly palatable and then it's ringing all the bells in my brain, and now I want more, and now I'm justifying more because it's high protein, so I can have 2 of those, or a lot of the time I would end up eating 4 protein bars, 6 protein bars.
I'm just thinking, any of the times that we've talked about where you've told me about times that you've had binges, I feel like most of them protein bars were involved.
It's the gateway.
Yeah.
Yep, it's the gateway drug. Until I start justifying, like in the worst times when I was really in the midst of my bulimia, because whenever I would have a binge, still I know too much about nutrition to allow myself to really just binge on total garbage food. So that's what it would be. It would be the protein bar would be the justification. And then it would taste so good I wouldn't want to stop. And then it would be a lot of protein bars. And then maybe I'd get a protein ice cream. And that's what the binge would be. But then in the midst of being super low body fat, being super low calories, eating really low macros to get to a stage or something like that, or right after stage where you're in this very vulnerable state, that's when the relapse, my bulimia relapse, came back because now my mind started justifying, well, just eat the garbage and throw it up. And then at least you're not still keeping all that crap in your body. Mm-hmm. It's completely illogical. It's completely emotional. And this is where we have to this is why we have to draw the line on these things that become justifiable in our brain, because that's what the slippery slope is that ends up leading you into places you don't want to be. So when I know what's on the other end of that slippery slope, that's a non-negotiable for me. It is not okay for me to ever get back to a place where I'm starting to justify harming my body in this way with a binge or with a binge and a purge. We can't play with that. I'm not going to play with that kind of fire.
Right.
So it's not okay for me. Yeah. So
we may look like we have it all figured out, guys, but we've been there. And I'm not going to say it's an ongoing struggle or it's an ongoing challenge. It's just decision that we've made that we continue to reinforce.
It's an awareness.
Right, it's an awareness. So we made the decision a long time ago what we're going to do and where we're going to be, and we don't have to make that decision again. We've already made the decision, but we've decided in that decision process to take actions and maintain an environment and make choices that support the decision we've already made. So the issue that I see a lot of people have, and we've talked about this with our clients, is it isn't the fact that you, how do I want to word this? People come to us and say, it's hard for me to make that decision every day. Or we talk about making decisions that's part of the problem. It's not that you need to make the decision every day. There's a difference between a decision and a choice.
I love this topic.
Okay?
Yes.
You make the decision once, and if you have actually made the decision,
you don't have
then
to
all the
again.
Choices you make from that point should support that decision.
And align with it, right?
So
the choices should align with the decision you already made.
If you're having an issue with your choices, it's because you haven't made the decision yet.
And I'll go one step further and say the beauty of where we are now is once you've done that consistently enough, and you're living the lifestyle that you have decided that you want for yourself, it is effortless to maintain it.
That's because that's what habits are. Continually reinforce the action.
His new job is pretty demanding, and like this week we were talking, he wasn't able to make it to the gym at all this week. He's not worried about losing gains because of everything he's done for the last 10 plus years to get him to this place. When I'm sick, and I talk about this with my clients all the time, I take the whole week off. It's not worth it to me. I'm not worried about losing what I've built. And we can go to brunch and say, you know what, today I'm having potatoes. And we're not worried about it now leading to us going and getting potatoes every day for the week. And we still make decisions not to buy and have things in our house that are in that gray area for us, that could lead us down that path of kryptonite.
Right.
So we still have things we choose not to try to moderate because it doesn't make sense to try to moderate that thing. But we do have things that we know we can moderate, and we're able to now enjoy those things from time to time without it ruining anything.
Yeah.
And that's what we really want for all of you. And that is not the work of following a diet. Following a diet is not going to get you there. Doing the mental work, the habitual work, the work on your habits, the work on your discipline, the work on, am I making choices on a day-to-day basis that align with where I want to go?
Yep.
And constantly remembering why you made that decision.
Yep.
I already made the decision. Why did I make the decision? Is this choice aligned with that? Not because it's keto or carnivore.
And mic drop. We're good. Right. Make your decisions based off of where you want to go, not trying to be something that the world is defining as a thing. Right?
That.
Define who you want to be for yourself. You're not trying to be keto. Keto is not the answer for you. Carnivore is not the answer for you. When we talk about nutrition, get your nutrient density as a priority. Make sure your body can utilize that nutrition, and then make sure you're making food choices that help you stay full so you don't overeat. That's all you got to worry about.
The diet that's best for you is the one you will stick to.
Yep.
And you can do any diet well or poorly to achieve the goals that you're seeking to achieve.
Right.
Any diet labeled diet, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
It's like a car. It's like cars.
You love
it doesn't matter if you're driving a Porsche or a Honda. They'll both get you there, but one will get you there a lot better and cost and be a lot more enjoyable of the ride. Right? I mean, I don't know. Well, maybe a Honda's not a good one because those things last freaking forever, right? But the idea that, everyone's got a different path, a different vehicle, and a different way of getting where they want to go because everyone's going somewhere different, right? You may be in a Jeep because you're going four-wheeling, and I'm in a Porsche because I want to go fly down the highway, right? We've all got different things. If you're not trying to fly down the highway, right? Getting in your Jeep and going on the highway is probably not the best option for you, right?
Yeah.
So
Yep.
just one way to look at it. All right, guys, do we have anything else before we go? We got people
You
chatting.
had another question in there.
I don't see any
thought I saw
questions.
something. Somebody
Let's
asked
see.
about, can we talk about something? But
Oh, macros. Who was that? Turbinado sugar. So many. Could you, Sandra B, could you say something about ratios of your macros, please?
Sure can.
Okay.
We don't do no ratios.
We don't do
over
ratios.
here.
So this will be the last thing we talk about because we're over an hour already. Although the first 20 minutes was us just rambling.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll tell you, Sandra, first off, look on my channel. I have several videos on this topic in the nutrition playlist, as well as if you get my book, The Ultimate Ketogenic Fitness Book, I have at least one chapter, if not two, that talks about the difference between functional macros and fuel macros, and the idea that the amount of protein that you need has nothing to do with the amount of fat that you need. So when you use a ratio, you're connecting your fat and protein intake together. Your body doesn't understand that connection. It doesn't work that way. So how much protein you need and how much fat you need are separate individual knobs that you can turn individually, and that you should not be tying them together in any way, shape, or form.
And if you're not in my Facebook group, for the ladies, you can join my Facebook group, Keto Bikini Secrets. I have a masterclass all about setting your macros, how to set your macros. So that would be a great place to go to play.
Yeah, so we both have content out there on how to understand, how to set your macros without using ratios, right? It's about the amount of actual food material that you're eating, not the connection between the two.
How much it makes up of your total calories, which is what macros are, which we should mention. So many of you out there in keto space are like, calories in, calories out, screw it, forget it. Calories don't work, that doesn't work. But I'm gonna use ratios to figure out my macros. If you're using ratios, you're using calories.
Yeah.
So
and
those two concepts don't really exist in the same space.
Yeah, and if you work with me or you're in my programs at all, we don't look at calories at all. We look strictly at the amount of protein, the amount of fat you're getting. We we set thresholds for where you are, what your maintenance levels are, and then we make adjustments from there. So, oftentimes, is that the correct way? Is that should I just say often or oftentimes? I feel like I say oftentimes a lot, but it should just be often.
That's a good question. I'm not sure.
I don't know. Any vernacular language people? Anywho, often when I work with people, they see that sounds better.
It does.
Often when I work with people, I don't know why I say oftentimes. Anyway, often when I work with people and they get their macros from me for the first time, they're like, but these calories are so low. And it's like, well, okay, but your protein is higher than it was and you're not eating 400 grams of fat every day. So yeah, it's probably going to be low.
And guess
than what
what?
you're used
You'll
to.
probably be fuller.
You'll be fuller.
You'll be like, oh my God, I can't even eat this much. You're looking at the calorie number freaking out, like it's not going to be enough. And then you realize that when you eat more protein and less fat, you're actually more satiated and you can't even fit it all in. I've got ladies coming to me all
like, I can't eat everything.
Fat, and then they're like, oh my God, I'm so full. Do I have to force feed myself? And I'm like, yeah, to get your protein to where it needs to be, you do for a period of time.
Yeah. So the calories, if you're just like a lot of other things when it comes to this stuff, if you're focused on calories and you're wondering why you're not seeing the progress you want to see, stop focusing on calories. Do it differently.
Yep.
Right. All right. Rhonda says, I get why you're saying calories don't matter. So
she said, I don't get why. I mentioned this to you the other day, that you confuse people when you say that.
Okay. So macros, Rhonda, this is for you since you posted it, Macros do not represent energy. Macros do not represent fuel, Macros represent the materials that you're eating and putting into your body so that your body can function. There's a difference between energy and function. So think about, I put gas in my car, it allows my engine to move, it burns the energy, it burns the gas, my engine can do things, The oil, the brake fluid, the transmission fluid, the windshield wiper fluid, all of those other things that I put into my car allow these functions in my car to do all of the other things that they need to do. They have nothing to do with energy production. That is what macros are. Macros are, what is the protein that I'm eating so that my body can create enzymes? My body can create hormones. My body can build muscle. My body can grow hair. Okay, that's not energy. That's production. That's function. What is the fat that I'm eating? What is the electrolyte intakes that I'm getting? All of these things that go into immune function and gut health and digestion, right? And brain health. I'm eating fat, so my fat can go to my brain. The cell structures of all of the different components of my body. All these other things that are functional have nothing to do with fuel. Fuel is like the energy aspect of what we eat is like 5% of all of the things that food does in our body. So when we base everything we have on that, that's where we get a lot of things mixed up. She's just sitting here watching me because this is something I've been hot on the last few weeks. When we talk about calories, we're talking about an end product of burning material. We're talking about an end product. If I take a chip and I light it on fire, the amount of heat that chip puts off is the calories, right? If I take a steak and I light it on fire, how much heat that steak puts off is the calories. That doesn't happen when I eat a steak. When I eat a steak, the steak goes good into my body, it gets digested, it gets broken down into other components that my body can then use for function. Like I said, building muscle, creating enzymes, making hormones, all those types of things. There's no heat produced in any of that. Your body doesn't produce heat in the energy creation process. Okay, so calories are not something that your body actually uses. Calories are imaginary, fictional things. They don't actually exist. It's a measurement of heat. Okay, they are the same, going back to the car analogy, as your miles per gallon. I put gas into my car, I get how many miles per gallon I can go on that gas. Calories are equivalent to miles per gallon. Can you determine how well your car is running based on your miles per gallon? No. If you're having a brake problem, that's not going to tell you anything. If you're having an issue with changing your gears, that's not going to tell you anything. Okay, so you have to look at the function of the car to determine what's actually happening. Okay, so miles per gallon doesn't do anything, just like calories doesn't do anything when it comes to the overall function of how the machine is working. Hope that helps.
I'm not going to say anything because we can go on for a
and that was me. That was just a quick trying to explain it a little bit. There's a whole bunch.
I think she got what you were trying to put down. I don't like to talk about it that way because we do look at calories with what I do because it's just a measurement, right? It's just another measurement. So when you're tracking macros, you're also tracking calories. You can't have one without the other. It comes along in the package. So if you're plugging things into a nutrition app,
it's going to give you calories.
There's calories there. Yeah. And so,
this is one of those things we talked about at the beginning.
There's so much more to the story than that.
Yes.
That you don't just want to look at that. If you're only looking at calories, you're missing all the things that food does for you beyond that, right? Because even you talk about functional versus fuel calories.
Well, I stopped
said that in your book.
That's changed. I say macros or nutrition.
This is a newer kick for you.
Right. So because it's hard, I said calories in my book, the book that's out now, because that is how I understood it from a just explaining it perspective. I wanted to use terms that people would connect with.
Right. And that's why I still use it, because most people are not going to get that concept of just there's no such thing as calories.
Yeah. And so now I say functional versus fuel macros, or functional versus fuel nutrition, because it's there. They don't exist. So this is one of the things, I think, of all of the things that we do differently, besides being Apple and Samsung, Apple and Android, I think the calorie debate is something that we go back and forth about.
We do.
Because she does implement them in her stuff, and I don't use them at all.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I use them for people who are struggling with fear of carbs, to help them understand, if you look at protein and total calories, it can help you get out of your head about fearing carbs and shoving too much fat in your face, and like recognizing that these are both fuel substrates. They both give you energy. They help you in that regard. So I do believe that food gives us energy. It's part of some of the benefits of food.
Yeah.
So that fuel is coming from fats and carbs. And when people can understand, because my ladies are tracking macros and we get very granular, and they may freak out if they go over their carbs by 5 grams.
Right.
But they were under their fat for the day, then I'm like, you're okay.
Yeah.
Or I went over my fats, but you were 20 grams under on carbs, you're okay. And what's an easier way to look at that is, well, did you go over your calorie threshold?
Right.
Rather than trying to play all this math with if I'm under my carbs by this, but I'm over my fat by this, do I have to multiply this by what? How do I understand if I still went over or if I didn't? Then it's just easier to use calories in that regard.
So Rhonda says, I think that's why I get confused or tricked up because many people are saying calories don't matter. And that is absolutely correct. And that's what I'm saying. Calories don't matter. That doesn't mean, and this is where the deeper understanding comes into play. When I say calories don't matter, it's not the same thing as me saying overconsumption doesn't matter. It's two very different things. So now
it's
the
word
way that
choice.
It's word choice in the way that you implement that. So the way that Nat does it in her program is she uses calories as a way of gauging overconsumption. And that works, that's great, that's fine. I look at, I'm gonna set how much fat you need, how much protein you need. If you go over those numbers, that's overconsumption. That's how I look at it. So I don't look at calories as a gauge of overconsumption. I look at the actual amount of the product or the amount of the food source that you're eating. So overconsumption is absolutely a thing, but not because of energy, because of your body's ability to utilize what you give it. If you give it more than it can use, then it's not going to use it. It's only got 2 choices. You only got 3 choices altogether, guys. Your body can use it, it can store it, or get rid of it.
Yep.
And if you're giving it something, if you're not, there's a whole nother... Guys, we're going to be on here forever. Okay, you can use it. So that's one thing. You can store it. If you get more than you need or more than your body's working, i.e. if you're not doing exercise and fitness and being active, then you're going to store it. And then some of the things that you get will get excreted and get removed by the body. So overconsumption can still happen, but it's not overconsumption of the calories because you can't physically consume calories. It's overconsumption of protein or fat or carbs that your body has to do something with those actual materials. Using calories as a framework to gauge that overconsumption is the most common way that people do that. But don't get that confused with calories actually being something that you're consuming, because they're not.
He likes to get into the mechanics and what scientifically, what is this doing in the body and all of that. And so it's literally just a difference in word choice.
Yeah.
So don't think that it's a different concept altogether.
Right.
We're saying the exact same things, we're just using different terminology.
Right. And we implement it differently, but it's the same end result.
And we don't even really implement it differently because
we do. Right.
We're doing the same thing. We're setting macros based on grams, not ratios and all of that.
Right.
So both of our people are doing the exact same thing. The only difference is I'm asking my ladies to actually pay attention to the number of calories in addition to looking at the macros.
Right. So you're looking at the macros, and if up or down, as long as their calories are where they need to be, then you're fine. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So hope that helped, Rhonda, or anyone else that's wondering how that works. That won't be the last time you guys hear me talking about calories.
I think you need to do this explanation just on its own on your socials.
I have.
Because, you have done the first half. You haven't done the very important second half, which is...
That's true. That's true. That's the first time I thought about that.
It's not the concept. Yeah. That's why, in Antithetic, I remember people being confused. Wait, you said don't count calories, but then you said count macros. And they don't understand how
that's
for
different.
you, you're meaning it
Those,
differently. That you're separating those.
That's a good point.
Yep.
Cool. Thanks, everybody. We will see you hopefully next Saturday on schedule. Anything we want to leave with? We have anything going on next Saturday?
I don't think so.
Oh, she doesn't have, hold on a second. Hold on. This would be so cool.
What are you looking up?
I'm going to look up because
Let's see if I have anything else in here.
okay, everybody, I want you guys to go. All right, here's the deal. I want everybody to go to Instagram and find Dant Claire on Instagram, okay? Dant Claire, all one word, D-A-N-T Claire. Follow her. I'm not following my own mother.
I was about to say,
How am I not following my own
You're not
mom?
following her? What's wrong with you?
Follow Claire Dant and then go on her Instagram and comment on something or tag her in a post or something and wish her a happy birthday. She turned 70 yesterday. So if you guys know my mom, she's been working with me for 10 years. I think she just turned 60 when she started working with me. Reversed osteoporosis, loves working out, all the things. So if you have a way to find her on Instagram, Dant Claire, go find her and wish her happy birthday, all right? Or post on any of the videos on YouTube where I've interviewed her a couple different times.
Tell her how young she looks.
And comment on the videos. If you see any of my mom's interviews, wish her a happy birthday. I think she would be super blessed with that. So we're going to go to dinner with the family tonight. And sometime today, I think in an hour, I'm going to be on the Carnivore Roundtable on Carnivore Backwards YouTube channel. So just go check that out if you want to.
Fun. We gotta go eat breakfast.
We got to go eat breakfast.
We're late.
See ya.